Whew. But to get that scared and to turn that pale when you asked for a driver's license, was it a vertical? Was it a vertical or a horizontal driver's license? Because if they're under 21,
right.
It's
Thank
vertical.
Christ it was. No, this was a few years ago. I don't remember, but she was 20. She was 20. She was going to be 21 in a couple of months. She made sure. I almost thought she was going to tell me in months how old she was. So not even the half plus 7 that we talked about. Your age, half your age plus 7. So half
she was
my age.
definitely not. Yeah, she was just the half.
Right. So I go into full on parenting mode. I'm like, now listen here, sweetheart.
So what is she doing now? You've discovered it now. So she was.
Oh, she felt like
deathly
shit.
afraid.
She's afraid. She's freaking out, the whole thing. And I wasn't being a dick or anything, like my normal. I'm kidding. But I'm like, listen, I go, this isn't going to happen. And it is an age thing. I have to be able to have a relevant conversation. If I'm going to mention Nirvana and you're thinking about the peace of state of mind, like we're done, right? But at any rate, exactly. So I go into full on like parenting mode. I'm like, listen, honey, like the kind of guy you want isn't going to fall for shit like this. You got to be your true self and blah, 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 blah. And why would you lie your age up? I mean, to be quite frank, we know there's a lot of douchebags out there. They want some young, hot 20-year-old girl or whatever at their beck and I'm not a sugar daddy. I'm already paying for one ex-wife. I can't afford it anymore.
Well, yes, you want to know how much you made.
Yeah, exactly.
Question one.
Right, exactly. So this whole thing unfolds, and I'm like, this isn't going to happen. And then the waiter comes over, and he's like, what would you like to order for your entree? I'll have a side salad on the ASAP.
That's what you ordered, or that's what she ordered?
That's what I ordered. Oh. She ordered, I don't know what the hell she ordered.
Well, we already talked about what she probably
Fish
ordered.
sticks. Yeah, exactly. So, hush puppies. Too.
I'll have cheese pizza off the kids' menu.
So we kind of rushed through dinner, whatever. I mean, I'm talking, when I say rush, I plowed through a side salad and, $20 side salad at this steak place within 5 minutes.
Did you have to cut her food up for her?
I almost had a baby bird it. There was a apron bib thing and like the chair at the end of the table. Anyways, so fast forward. So we're finishing up with dinner, and there's another little part of the story. We're finishing up with dinner. We're going out to the foyer of the restaurant to leave. She's parked over here. I'm parked over here. I'm a gentleman. I'll walk into your car. The whole way to the car, I'm like, listen, I appreciate meeting you. Again, I hope in the future you're truthful with your age and who you are. You seem like a sweet girl and blah, 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 blah. Minor, whatever you want to call her. And then her last question was, I'm so sorry. Do you still want to come home and sleep with me? That's not the words she used, but that's exactly what she meant. And my response was no. So when we say, folks, be truthful with who you are.
Wait. You can't just rush over that. You go outside. She apologizes.
Yes.
And then she
Offer
says,
sex.
I'm sorry.
Mm-hmm.
Would you still like to have sex with me?
That's exactly what happened. And I said, no.
Well, I'm not doubting you or questioning you or what your response was to that. What even made her think after everything that just happened that was still on the table?
Well, you and I both know how poor the dating pool is for women out there and how ruthless men can be and how one directional they can be. I honestly don't think it was that. I think she just thought that if she were to lie her age up, a guy that was more successful in life, not necessarily from a monetary standpoint, but just from a maturity standpoint, which she didn't really know me, I guess, would be interested. And that was absolutely counterproductive. Totally counterproductive. Total waste of time. But
it would be interesting to see. Do you remember her name?
No.
You lying to me?
Nope.
Okay. I really wish we knew who she was, and even just to stalk her Facebook or her social media, just to see if she ended up with some old guy with a lot of money. And it'd
Stalking
be interesting.
Facebook's really your MO, but yeah, that would be kind of interesting.
Oh, if we're gonna date, I'm gonna check you out.
Oh yeah.
Sorry, yeah. I am sorry, not sorry.
So that's my lengthy, sorry guys, not sorry, story about being your true self and getting bamboozled or catfished when it came to her age. So there's a lot of things that happen, right, in first dates. And as you said before, and I agree, I haven't had a lot of bad dates. I've had ones that is just not going to align or whatever. I've also had some ones where the person ended up being a little off center. And I know you had a story on a date where I think she was being a bit of a bee.
Okay, she was being a bit of a Karen sans your mom.
Okay. My mom hates that, by the way. And if nobody on here knows my mom, June Cleaver, right? She is, her name just happens to be Karen. She hates that shit. Anyways.
I actually on a different story. I actually stopped by. Matt was at his mom and dad's the other day, and I was out on the bike, and I was real close by, so I just decided to pop in, and because I love seeing Papa Dale. Not that I don't love seeing Mama Karen, but I love seeing Papa Dale.
She is the leveler. She is definitely the foundation.
It's funny because you can tell, so Matt and I will start having our conversations like we normally do, and you can tell that Papa Dale's like sitting over there in his chair, and he's really wanting to be involved and like get in on the conversation, but it's like he maybe shouldn't get in on the conversation because Mama Karen's sitting in the room.
He's checking.
And yeah, I don't think Mama Karen really liked our conversation.
Nope. Oh, no. She won't say anything about it.
No, she won't, just until I leave.
So your story.
So I met again, an online dating thing. She was a couple years older than me, had never been married. And one of the things that I have found in my dating is that sometimes some of the, and I don't say older in a derogatory way. I say, okay, maybe perhaps more mature women have a tendency sometimes to want to try to re-engage how they were in their 20s. Sometimes. Have you ever ran into that? It's definitely not all of them, but there are a group of them that I have found.
What do you mean by that?
Like they're not acting like they're 50.
Oh, you mean trying to like hold on to their youthful
Like
years and
trying to redo that again. Like I'm going back.
From an attitude and demeanor
just
standpoint?
everything. Yeah, it's
I see.
Drinking, party girl kind of thing.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Once the kids move out of the house, in your case, you didn't have kids, but once the kids move out of the house, then it's woohoo.
I have seen that a little bit.
South Padre Island.
Definitely not with all of them, but there's a group of them. Must be just the Karens. Anyway, this woman's name was not Karen, but she was Karen. So we show up, and we actually get there about the same time. We walk in together. We meet in the parking lot. We go inside. Nice place. I told you what it was. It's actually not open anymore. It's down the Freight House District. And we go inside, and we order a drink, and I can just tell she's just got like this snooty, kind of uppity attitude.
Chip, maybe?
Yeah, I mean, just like she's a little bit better than everybody else that's there, and wanting to know like why I ordered what I ordered, and wanting to know, I mean, like really like quizzing the bartender, like she's telling them like specifically how she wants her drink made. And actually, and I don't think I told you this part when we've talked about this in the past, but we ended up talking to, it was either the general manager or one of the co-owners that night. I was walking around, and of course, she wants to be able to say that she was talking to the co-owner or to the man in charge.
That kind. Okay, yeah. I get you.
And what she thought about, he made the mistake of asking her, what do you think about the play? You've been here before. What do you think about it? And of course, she's got to give her 2 cents on every freaking thing that's in there. So I knew this was going a wrong direction. So she's telling me about her recent trip that she had to Mexico. And they were at a clothing optional beach. Again, attractive woman, very fit, very put together. She decides to let it all hang out on the clothing optional beach.
Her choice.
Optional, which means not everyone else there is going to do it. And then proceeds to talk about how offended and upset she was that when she took her top off, everybody was looking at her. Really? It's exactly what you wanted to have happen by taking your top off at the clothing optional beach. So during this story, we had transitioned from the bar to our table, and she was talking loud enough that we were having a conversation with most of the tables in our vicinity. Yeah. And I'm getting looks from all around us, and they're irritated, and I'm slowly becoming irritated. Then she did one thing that I cannot stand and will completely be the kiss of death for anyone even if she hadn't done everything she had already done.
Take notes, ladies.
She needed another drink. And whereas a normal person would wait for the waiter to come back around, she was... The looks from my fellow table mates around me intensified. This went on through our entire dinner. And I could not get out of there fast enough. And I am like, I don't think I have ever been on a date or had a dinner where I was so embarrassed about the person that I was with. And this could have been a real good situation, but yeah, the snapping and the demanding, and it went on. Anytime she needed something, it was a snap. We don't wait for the waiter to come back to the table. We snap and let him know that we're here and we're important and we are somebody and we need to be served now. So waiter does come back to the table and he's like, is there anything else that I can help you with? And I'm like, just the check. And she's kind of like, she wasn't expecting the check to come at that point in time. I give him my debit card. He comes back to the table. I start to get up and I look at him and I say, I want to apologize. And he's like, and I said, for her attitude through this entire dinner. I said, you didn't deserve any of that. I said, that's unacceptable. And I said, you don't get paid enough your attention is demanded enough as it is to have somebody who is so, I didn't say all of this, but this is what is going through my brain.
Sure.
To have some self-entitled, self-righteous, uppity bitch. I mean, there's no other word for that.
Yeah, I get you.
Treat you the way she's treated you for our entire meal. And I completely apologize. I tipped the shit out of him, and I am damn near surprised we didn't get an applause when we left that table. Dude, it was one of the worst freaking dates I've ever been on in my life. I've never been so embarrassed in my life.
Boy, she had a high opinion of herself, didn't she?
Oh, yes, very much so.
God.
Everyone needs to look at her. Everyone needs to see her. She's beautiful. She's important. She's someone.
Just making a scene out in public.
Yeah.
Sometimes they don't make scenes out in public only.
Oh, no. If this is what she's doing on the first date, can you imagine what a relationship with that person would be like?
I'm ready now.
Wrap it up. Wrap it up. Wrap it up.
Exactly.
That's a whole nother story. I don't know if you're going to talk about that one or not, but.
Oh, man. Yeah, so she had a freak out in the restaurant. Or not freak out, but she was being that way in a restaurant. That's embarrassing. When you're...
It was highly embarrassing. I don't think I've ever been that embarrassed before.
Yeah. I haven't. I've been scared out of my gourd before at the net result of a date, which I think... You want me to go into that one?
Yeah, that one's completely up to you.
I'm going to go into
this one scares me a little bit, actually.
Oh, man, I tell you what. So, dating apps, connect with this girl, cute girl, chatting, everything's clicking, going well. We meet downtown for a dinner or whatever, typical stuff. Had a great conversation. Real small figure. Okay. Not that I care about that, but just real thin girl, yoga instructor, and, all that cliched stuff. Anyways, sure. Yeah, I know. Very outgoing and Scorpio, which I've learned. So had a great conversation. I don't think of it much, but she's getting through some wine. She's plowing through some wine. I had a cocktail, maybe two. We were there for like 3 hours, so it's like no big deal, whatever, right? Having fun, good conversation, laughter, banter, all the stuff that you kind of want to have happen. Well, then the conversation comes up. I don't bring it up. Just, hey, where do you live? Well, that's a sales comment. And that came from her. Where do you live? And I mentioned where I live around, in town approximately, Well, what kind of wine do you have at your house? Fast forward, we're driving separately. I'm like, sure, that's fine. We'll go hang out, listen to some music, have some wine, etc., whatever. So we get back to my place, and we're just hanging out. As soon as we get there, I won't say as soon as we get there, within 15, 20 minutes, Andy, she got a second glass of wine in her hand inside of 15 minutes. I have
She hit the first one hard.
She had been hitting them all hard. I come to find out. So apparently the wheels fell off her sober truck somewhere between dinner and my home. I don't pick up on it immediately, but we're hanging out, and she starts slurring her words. She's a little whatever, and it escalates quick, and I'm sober. Like,
Yeah.
whatever. I'm keeping my wits about me. I actually wanted to learn about this person. Well, now I don't. So it very quickly escalates. She's getting sloppy. I'm going to say sloppy. Okay, sloppy drunk. And to the point where I'm like, let me get you a taxi, or I'll drive you home. No, I'm fine. Yeah, I'm fine. Right? That whole thing. And I'm like, oh, honey. No, you is not. Right? So it's now late. It's getting 11:30 at night. And I'm like, I don't know what the hell to do with this gal. She's drunk out of her mind. I could drive her home, but she clearly isn't wanting that option. She doesn't want to take an Uber or a taxi or whatever. I guess it's Uber. So I'm like, I tell you what, I've got extra beds in the house, not in my bedroom or the couch or whatever. Why don't you get a few hours of rest? Let me get you a water. I don't know. Anyway, it's not a good scene. It was really gross. Anyway, so I'm like, go to bed. She gets in one of my kids' beds. Sorry, kids. I lock the doors to my bedroom. Okay. I'm asleep. I figure I'll wake up in the morning. She'll either be gone already, or I can take her home or whatever, right? No big deal.
It'll be a whole new world.
Yeah, she'll sober up. She'll say, I'm sorry, I got shitty last night or drunk or whatever, and we'll be fine. We'll move on with the day. No big deal. No harm, no foul. We've all been there, okay? About 1:30 in the morning.
So a couple hours later.
I wake up, not for any reason. I just happen to wake up. And I'm concerned. I want to make sure she's not vomiting all over my house somewhere or aspirating and dead, because I don't want to make that freaking phone call. Nobody wants to make that call twice in their life. So she's not in the guest room. The sheets have not been touched. I go out to the living room. I'm in my boxers. That's it. And she's on the couch with her phone bobbing back and forth like she's in a mental hospital.
Oh, man.
Blowing up her phone. It's like I said, it's like 1:30, maybe 2 o'clock in the morning at this point. I am worried that something's happened in her personal life. She got a phone call, somebody died. I don't know what the hell's going on. Her first word, she looks at me from across the room, and I'm 20 feet away. She goes, I don't know what you put in my drink. And you talk about fear in your body.
Oh, I'm sure.
I am like, whoa.
So she thought
I had given her some kind of a drug. And I'm like, my dear, the only drug you've had tonight is Boone's Farm or Cabernet or whatever the hell. And I start going through and I had the receipt in my pocket.
You keep that high quality wine.
Jeez, hey, box wine, man, just like Mom did.
She said Boone's Farm.
I pull out the receipt from I'm curious. She had 8 glasses of wine in like 2.5, and we also had a shot each. Well, she's probably $1.10, maybe $1.20.
Well, and if she drinks it super fast,
she did.
It's going to take a minute for that to process, and
Yeah,
by
we were
the
there for
time
3 hours.
it does,
Yeah,
it's going to hit.
And it hit hard. So she's just on her phone. Her car's parked out front. I'm like, I don't know what to do. So I'm talking very calm. I'm like, listen, Susan, that wasn't her name. I remember her name. Susan, you've clearly had a bit much to drink tonight, and no harm, no foul, not judging. We've all been there. Let me get you some water. Why don't you try to get some rest? Oh, that's just what you want. You just want to keep me here and give me more drugs to keep me. I don't even know. Anyways, I'm not going to go there. I am sweating in anxiety and fear because I don't know if she's texting the cops.
I was going to say, you don't know if she's dialed 911 while she's rocking back and forth in her straitjacket.
No idea what the hell's going on. So finally, I pull out. I'm like, listen, I'm going to stand on the other side of the room, and I just want to make sure you're okay. I can't be safe around you. And I'm like, oh my God. So finally, I get out of her. She's trying to get a hold of somebody to pick her up. I'm like, thank Christ. 2 hours later of me sweating freaking bullets in the middle of the night that this gal has lost her bonkers. Somebody finally comes and picks her up. And I cannot sleep at this point.
See how big of a hurry they were in to come get her.
Yeah, apparently this wasn't round number one for this gal, and she was a head case. So she leaves. I have some relief, but not a lot, because now I'm wondering, am I going to get a phone call from the cops the next morning saying, we need to talk to you about some roof, whatever you put in this gal's
Exactly.
drinks?
I agree.
So I'm freaking out. Her car's still parked there, so there has to be another exchange of something at some point the next day for her to get her damn car out of my freaking driveway.
Dude.
So finally, she's blowing me up the next morning. I'm sorry, and all this, that, and the other thing, and I'm going to come get my car, and I'm going to leave. I'm like, you better damn believe you're going to leave. I lock up my house, leave before she gets there. I've got a Ring camera. I'm watching the whole thing. I'm recording everything.
Right.
Freaking out. I had her tell me on the phone it wasn't your fault, recorded it. That's the place I was at. She leaves. So you'd think that was the end of the story, Andy.
There was a second date?
Oh, God, no, there wasn't. She then continues to blow me up, wants to have second date, wants to have a third date, wants to see me again. And it took me a good couple, 2 or 3 weeks to convince her, you don't understand, this ain't happening.
This is the woman who was accusing you of drugging her, begging for another date.
I mean, do you blame her? Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. Scary. So you talk about dates gone wild. That was way up there.
Wow.
That's my second favorite. It's funny now, kind of.
Yeah.
Funny,
Wow.
like surviving a heart attack.
Crazy. I cannot imagine. But, man, I mean, to be sitting there and worrying about...
You have.
Police department.
Yes.
Dude.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And it's sad, honestly, Andy, because that's even a thing, and whatever. We won't get too super deep with stuff today, but as we typically try not to. But yeah, scare the absolute shit out of me. So folks, be careful of who you're dating. Make sure they don't get too hammered. And yeah, I don't know what to tell you on that one. But yeah, so crazy stuff. And that's only a few stories, And again, we don't have a whole lot of like crazy dating stories. I mean, I've had some that just didn't work out well. I mean, obviously, we're both still single-ish. But I know there's a lot of crazy stuff out there. So guys out there, find us at Barstool Breakdowns. We'd love to hear some of your crazy dating stories. Dates gone wild. Do a hashtag, dates gone wild. I like that idea. So yeah. Dates gone wild. And we also want to hear about topics you guys want to hear about. We love all the messages we're getting through Facebook, through YouTube, through our podcast, and TikTok seems to be the most popular one, and Instagram. But yeah, find us at Barstool Breakdown. Send us your ideas for future shows. We'll talk about whatever you guys want us to talk about. We're happy to. Trust me, we have the experience.
And we are reading those and replying to those.
A lot. Absolutely. Love it. We're really growing our tribe, and it's been a lot of fun.
We could continue to grow and grow and grow. So, yeah, again, like, share, subscribe, follow, do it all.
Yeah, please do. Yeah, we're having a lot of fun with this, and we want to keep the content going for sure. There is another story I have that isn't really necessarily a date's gone wild, but it's a vacation's gone wild. And I think that's a longer story, and I think I'm going to hang on to that one for a future episode.
Yeah, I think I have some vacation gone wild too.
Yeah.
Sometimes the vacations turn into a bit of a shit show.
Ooh, this one sure did.
You start spending time with somebody that you haven't really spent as much time with as, close quarters starts to happen.
And at a distance away from home.
Saying a long ways from home.
Yeah, I know one story about a former buddy, or his current buddy, but former coworker that had a freak out on an airplane. MG.
Really?
Oh, yeah. Old Taylor used to tell me about some date he brought because he always had a date of the week.
Oh,
Yeah, anyways, that different conversation for a different day. We should probably do an episode on travel.
I forgot about that because I was actually on that trip.
Were you?
Yes.
Oh, boy. Okay, well, that might be a good...
Wow.
Yeah, I've heard snippets from over the years about that.
Forgot about that. I was on that trip.
Yeah. Oh, wow. Yeah. So, at any rate... But yeah, so Dates Gone Wild again, guys. Message us in. We'd love to hear about some of your own horror stories. Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So next week is 4th of July, Andy.
4th of July, and I know we've talked
America.
we've absolutely we've talked too about guests, and we've kind of decided, with us getting the ball rolling and with the holiday coming up, we thought it'd be best to kind of maybe push our guests off a little bit to get through that holiday season. Yeah. We have our list has grown
big time every day.
So, I mean, some of our topics that we were going to do may actually get pushed off a little bit just so that we can, and we really there's a lot of these. We're excited to talk to these guests. It's going to be some great interviews.
Oh, absolutely. Well, we were going to talk this week about fetishes.
Yeah.
We've got a guest that really wanted to chime in, and I think we may need to have that happen. So we're going to push that off for a couple more weeks.
Yeah. So we apologize if you tuned in for fetishes and got Dates Gone Wild.
If you're into bad wigs, welcome to Fetishes Gone Wild.
Sober Dates Gone Wild.
Sober Dates Gone Wild.
The Sober Dates Gone Wild podcast.
Maybe dates shouldn't have alcohol involved.
I'm talking about our podcast.
Oh, our podcast.
A sober podcast about Dates Gone Wild.
Oh, my God. So, yeah, gang, thank you so much again for listening in. Love the feedback. I get messages all day long from people about it, and we'll keep it pumping out. And I think we're going to do an on location here pretty soon, too.
We are. Coming up soon.
Absolutely. So thanks again, guys. We are on TikTok, Instagram, YouTube. We are on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, at Barstool Breakdowns, and Twitter is at Barstool Guys. Always good seeing you, Andy.
Always good seeing you too, buddy. I'm glad I got to see you.
I'm glad you got to see me too.
Ah, yes.
And guys out there, happy 4th of July, America.
Yep. Be safe. Keep all your fingers and toes.
Right. Be able to count to 21 like the rest of us.
Thank you again.
See you guys.